Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Hope you guys are doing well this evening. It's currently Sunday, going on sunset. It's about 5:30 at the moment. Hope you guys are doing well. The day after Anzac Day. So yeah, hopefully everyone's doing well. So let's get into it. As you saw by the title of the video, Nick from Australia's most overrated rugby league side through 1 to 17. Now, a couple of these players are out of position, but I feel like they need to be in this team. Now, this does not mean that I hate any players. Honestly, I don't hate anybody. I dislike a couple of players in the NRL, but I'm sure everybody dislikes a couple of players and really likes a few players, but you know, I don't hate anyone. I don't want any of these players kicked out of the NRL. So let's get straight into it. So I'll go through the team first, and then I'll go through my reasoning behind it. So fullback Clint Gutherson, on the wings Corey Oates and Moses Mbye, in the centres Joey Leilua and Tim Laffey, 5'8" Corey Norman, halfback Nathan Cleary, front row Aaron Woods and Adam Blair, hooker Nathan Peets, second row Bryce Cartwright and Tarek Sims, lock Tavita Pangai Jr., and the bench Ash Taylor, Shannon Boyd, Jared Wallace, and a guy that I still think's overrated, Regan Campbell-Gillard. And the coach is Ivan Cleary. Right. Now, some of you people may be sitting there shaking your head saying, oh my God, I can't believe you put this guy in the most overrated team that's in the NRL at the moment, blah, blah, blah. Look, it's an opinion. This is basically the most overrated 1 to 17 team in the NRL at the moment, in my opinion. So, we'll start with Clint Gutherson. Now, Clint Gutherson, for mine, is a solid player. In 2017, he was pretty underrated, and then he got injured. He come back the next year. 2018 was a bit of a 2018 was a bit of a write-off for him. It didn't do a whole lot. Parramatta really were terrible that season. And last year, he played really well last year. I think it was 18th man for State of Origin at one stage. But, you know, I've never looked at Clint Gutherson and gone, he's a top 5 fullback. I've never really gone that about him. I think he's a solid player, but I don't see him as a long-term fullback. I think he's more of a centre, the way the games these days. I know he's probably the fittest player at Parramatta, but I don't think he's got the speed, and I don't think he's got the I don't think he's got what it takes to be a premiership winning fullback at Parramatta. You know, he is. You know, last year he had a good year last year, but I feel like he was just going on stats and stuff. You know, if you look at the NBA for a minute, there's a guy named Russell Westbrook. All he cares about is stats. I think Clint Gutherson's the NRL version of the NBA's version of Russell Westbrook. So, you know, decent player, but again, he's overrated, and I don't see how he's that great of a player personally. Anyway, next one is Corey Oates. Now, Corey Oates went from one of the best wingers in the game to just being a very quiet, selfish player. I think, you know, I remember a couple of years ago he had the shits that he wanted to play back row or something, and I sat back and went, "Are you serious?" You know, Corey Oates he's not a forward, and you know, on his day, Corey Oates can be a good winger, but I don't see Corey Oates as a top 5 winger in the NRL anymore. There's too many guys that are up there. You know, he believes in himself, which is good luck to him, but you know, I don't see him as a top 5 winger. I think he's played his best football. His best days are a bit behind him now, but yeah, I think he's got a fair bit to do to be a bit underrated again. But you know, he's a very overrated player. He plays for Brisbane. So much expected up there at the Broncos, but yeah, I question him a little bit, but I think he's overrated. I really do. The other winger, well, he's not really a winger. He's more of a utility player, Moses Mbye. Now, the money that Moses Mbye is on, I think it's ridiculous that he played State of Origin last year. I couldn't believe he made the Origin team last year. He played shit, didn't do anything. He hasn't done anything since he left the Bulldogs. You know, a lot of coaches don't know if he's a 5'8" or a halfback or a fullback or a hooker or a centre. You know, if it's taken so many coaches to figure out one position for one player, that's ridiculous. Moses Mbye should go up to the next coach he gets coached by and say, listen, this is my position. I see Moses Mbye probably as a Jersey 14 player, come on and play a bit of dummy half, but he might be a centre going forward, but honest to God, he's on that much money. He hasn't really done anything to deserve that money, and I don't see anything great long term for Moses Mbye. I wish him all the best, but I don't see anything, you know, brilliant coming his way, but we'll see what happens. The next one I've got the centres, Joey Leilua and Tim Lafai. Now, I'll start with Tim Lafai. Tim Lafai is shit. Ever since he left the Bulldogs, he has been shit. I don't know why he went to the Dragons for. The Dragons probably think he's the biggest waste of space going. You know, every Dragon fan that I talk to, they say, God, Tim Lafai's got to go. He's so shit. He plays on that left side. You know, all he does, he has this little flick he does, and he has this certain little step he does. It doesn't worry the defence at all. I question his defence. His attack is trash. What is Tim Lafai? What's so great about Tim Lafai? Honest to God. He plays for Samoa every year. He's lucky for it. He's lucky to be in the Samoan side. I don't see Tim Lafai anywhere near Samoa whenever they play again. I don't see him as a top 10 centre. I know a lot of people think he used to be a good player, but, you know, the word used to and now is a big difference, but no, he's a very overrated player, Tim Lafai. The next one I got is Joey Leilua. Now, at the start of the season, pre-season, Joey Leilua said, I am the best centre in the world. Are you fucking kidding me? Joey Leilua, the best centre in the world. He hasn't even played fucking Origin. What's Joey Leilua actually done? The only rep team that he's going to make is fucking Samoa. It's the only rep team he's going to play for. Him and Tim Lafai, the most overrated centres going around. Now, I understand he's at a new club and he's gone to the Tigers, but what has Joey Leilua actually done? Played in the grand final 10 years ago, did fuck all. You know, what at Canberra fans were happy that he left. Joey Leilua is extremely overrated, and if you think he's not overrated, I'd be very surprised. Move to the halves. 5'8", Corey Norman. Corey Norman cares more about his t-shirt designs on that YKTR shit more than his rugby league career. I'm telling you right now. Played Origin 3 last year. I don't know how he got picked. Maybe because of those 3 field goals he kicked to win the game. But, I mean, anyone could have done that. He just stand in position and take the field goal. Fuck me. A person on one leg could kick a field goal. Like, fuck me. Seriously. Corey Norman, you know, on his day, he can be a decent player on his day. I was tempted to put Shaun Johnson in that list, but Corey Norman, I think he's the most overrated 5'8" in the NRL. And he hasn't done anything since Parramatta got rid of him, and he's just killing the Dragons at the moment. So Corey Norman probably needs a year or two in the Super League just to play in a different style, try a different style of footy and try and get some confidence back, for fuck's sake. Halfback, Nathan Cleary, the chin fucker himself. Right. What has Nathan Cleary actually done? Now, he played State of Origin. Congratulations. Did fuck all in Origin. All he did was tackle, played like a back rower, did nothing with the ball. He's got no try assist. He's got no 40-20s. He hasn't done anything in Origin whatsoever. He gets picked for Origin because the selectors are absolutely biased. Brad Fittler is a Panthers legend. Of course he's going to have Nathan Cleary in his mouth. Greg Alexander, a phenomenal rugby league legend. But he's a Panther. He's on the Rugby League New South Wales board. There's 2 biased answers there. And the Rugby League media kiss Nathan Cleary's ass more than they kiss their fucking wives and girlfriends. It's a common fact. There are so many other players out there who deserve to play in the halves. Nathan Cleary is not worthy of a State of Origin jersey. The only thing he's good for is defence and maybe goal kicking. He's the most overrated halfback in the NRL, and I would be very surprised if anyone had him as a top 3 half. I don't even have him as a top 5 half. In my opinion, I went through the halfbacks of the NRL. I looked at them all. Cleary's probably about 6 or 7 for mine. I don't see him as a top 5 halfback. A lot of people might disagree with that, but listen, I'm here to tell the truth. I watch every single game of rugby league. If you don't agree, I don't care. I just like to express my opinion on it. And I dislike Nathan Cleary. There's no doubt about that. But he is not a great halfback. He's decent at best. Front rowers, Aaron Woods, Adam Blair. Aaron Woods hasn't done anything for a couple of years. He's an overrated idiot. His haircut, he's not an idiot, but he's just one of those forwards that just doesn't do anything. Didn't do much in Origin, and I don't see how Aaron Woods is a great forward. I don't know. Someone prove me wrong, but Aaron Woods has been overrated since he left the Tigers, and the Bulldogs. So good look. Aaron Woods makes this list, no questions asked. Adam Blair as well. Ever since he's gone to the Warriors, Warriors fans have been begging for him to leave. But, with money these days, Adam Blair's a bit old. I might be a bit harsh on him. Played pretty good football when he was at Melbourne and the Tigers and whatnot. But, ever since he went to the Warriors, Warriors fans just want him to leave. But Adam Blair makes this list, no doubt. Nathan Peats is the hooker. Again, he went to the Gold Coast. His career died up there, pretty much. He used to play hooker for New South Wales. I think he did when he was at the Titans, but honest to God, he only made it. The only reason why Nathan Peats made the New South Wales Origin team a couple of years ago was because there was fair income, no one else to pick from. So, yeah, Nathan Peats makes this list, I think. I can't name any other hookers that's overrated. I don't know. There's a couple out there. McCullough doesn't start at hooker anymore, so, and I think I don't know. There's not many hookers around that's overrated, but I think Peats probably makes the spot for that one. Back row. Tarek Sims and Bryce Cartwright. I'll start with Tarek Sims. On his day, he's a good player, but he goes missing too much. He doesn't get involved enough. Back rowers these days get involved a lot. Look at the likes of David Fafita, John Bateman, Viliami Kikau. They're always involved in the plays. They go looking for the ball. And I feel like Tarek Sims just gets the ball when the halves want him to, but Tarek Sims is too good of a player to be bludgeoning around, but, he's pretty overrated at the Dragons by just sitting on the edge doing nothing, and somehow gets picked for Origin every now and then because he has 1 or 2 big games, but no, consistently he doesn't do enough for me to be, he's just underrated. He's definitely overrated. He hasn't done a lot the last couple of years. I think he needs to probably have a look at his Dragons contract and maybe think of another club that might give him the ball. So Tarek Sims makes this list. And Bryce Cartwright. Bryce Cartwright hasn't done anything. I remember 2016, 2017, it was on the verge of Origin. I think he was 18th man for a while there. And, he went up to the... he was the next big thing at Penrith. He had a little kicking game. It was good ball playing. Not a bad back rower. Goes to the Gold Coast with Garth Brennan, who was assistant at Penrith at the time. And Bryce Cartwright, seriously, ever since he's gone to the Gold Coast, his career's gone down. Bryce Cartwright's probably one of the biggest failures in the NRL. I think he needs to leave the Gold Coast and go to a club like Melbourne where his career might get reborn. But I can't see Bryce Cartwright going forward until he leaves the Gold Coast. And he's on big money as well. So, yeah, Bryce Cartwright's nothing more than overrated and not much more to say about that. And the lock, Tavita Pangai Jr. Tavita Pangai Jr., I met Tavita Pangai Jr. He is a nice bloke. Let me tell you. He is a fantastic bloke. But the only issue I have with Tavita Pangai Jr. is when he's on the field, he's not always involved. Arguably, he doesn't have to be involved all the time because the Broncos pack, you got guys like Haas, Fafita, Lodge, Glenn, Offering Gowie, Flagler, all these guys, Carrigan, all these forwards. Tavita Pangai Jr. arguably doesn't really need to be in the Broncos team or do much at Brisbane, but, He's normally their starting lock, and he doesn't do a lot. Ever since, he only gets up for the big games too, which disappoints me a little bit. But on his day, he's a solid player, but he's just not consistent enough. But there wasn't many locks to choose from, so I had to put Tevita Pangai in. I'm sorry, Tevita Pangai Jr. If you're watching it, I met you in person last year at Brisbane Souths. He's a great bloke, man, let me tell you. Right, let's get under the bench. I've been rambling on here for a little bit. Ash Taylor, again, him and Nathan Cleary, probably the two most overrated halfbacks that I've ever seen. I think Ash Taylor might be the most overrated halfback of all time. He's going to be right up there when it's all said and done. The only hope I see for Ash Taylor is maybe a stint at maybe Melbourne or the Roosters. But again, Melbourne and Roosters wouldn't pay more than $300,000 for him. I can't see Ash Taylor's career being revived. I think he really needs to drop some weight and just maybe transition to a different position. At this point, that's the only hope I see him having. Next one, we got Shannon Boyd. Now, Shannon Boyd, when he was at Canberra, he was just one of those big, solid bull forwards, bit like Dave Taylor back in the day, But again, big body, massive build, bit of weight on him, which is whatever. But he just hasn't done anything at the Gold Coast. I understand he's on a lot of money at the Gold Coast. Hasn't done a whole lot, which is disappointing. But I don't see much out of Shannon Boyd. I think, like I said before, I think a elite club, a top side would get the best out of Shannon Boyd, but Shannon Boyd's got to leave the Gold Coast to have that hope. Next one is Campbell Gillard. Now, this is a bit controversial. A lot of people will say that's bullshit. The thing with Campbell Gillard, last year at Penrith, terrible. Don't blame him. He had a lot of dramas, I think, with Ivan Cleary. He's an absolute wanker. Never liked him as a coach. Yeah, look, the thing with Campbell Gillard is he used to play Origin and then he just fell down the trap, which is disappointing. But I think when his first two games at Parramatta this year weren't too bad. He had one good game and he had one quiet game, but I think he might get off the. I think Campbell Gillard will get off the overrated list soon, but at the moment I think he just sneaks in. And the other one is Jared Wallace. Now, he does make the Queensland side most years, but he doesn't do a whole lot in the match anyway. I think when he left Brisbane, it sort of went downhill for him. I know he still made Origin and stuff, but not being rude about Queenslanders, but ever since they lost the big four, Queenslanders, the forwards have gone down. Like, they lost Corey Parker, they lost Nate Miles, Sam Fido. They had to pick someone, and Jared Wallace was picked only because there wasn't many options to choose from. But yeah, Jared Wallace is pretty overrated at the Gold Coast, A lot of players on this list are from the Gold Coast, which might be a surprise because of how shit the Gold Coast are every year. But, the players that I mentioned, guys like Cartwright, Peets, Wallace, on their day, they can be solid players, there's no doubt. But guys like Boyd and Taylor, I don't see much hope for them. But, some of those Gold Coast players on their day individually can be quite good, but they're just not consistent enough, and they're just on big money, and they don't do a whole lot. But, and the coach, before I get out of here, Ivan Cleary, fuck me dead. What is this bloke? I've never seen a coach as overrated as Ivan Cleary. I know there's a couple other coaches people will talk about. A lot of people will mention Paul McGregor. A lot of people will mention Paul Green. Some will say Steve Kearney. But thing with Ivan Cleary is the last time Ivan Cleary got a side into the finals, I think, was 2014. Because I remember 2015, he was at Penrith and they missed the 8 and he was sacked. Then 16, where was he in 2016? Was he at the Tigers? Yeah, I think he was at the Tigers. Might have been at the Tigers for a couple of years. I don't know how long he was at the hang on, was he at the Tigers? Oh, he was somewhere coaching. I can't remember where. It might have been the Tigers. But he was coaching somewhere. And he'd never make the 8. Never make the 8. And then gets off the bus at the Tigers, goes to Penrith and misses the 8 with a decent roster. And yeah, so anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. Ivan Cleary's the most overrated coach, in my opinion. I'm getting out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, most overrated 1 to 17 list. The next one will be the most underrated 1 to 17 team list. I'm looking forward to doing that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.